Hi there, welcome to Pink Sofa Conversation. In this instance, I'm with Jorge, a very good friend of mine. Hi Jorge, how are you?
Hi, hello. I'm fine. Everything fine.
Jorge, tell us a little bit about you. What do you do?
Well, mainly I'm a teacher. I am a primary teacher. I teach kids from 5 to 7 years old, and I teach them English. I teach everything in English. I don't speak Spanish in my school, or I try not to do it. And then when I have some time, which is not a lot, I write for children and for young adults mainly. So I write tales for children, fantasy stories for young adults, a bit of mystery, some poetry, and yeah, that's what I do. And then sport, traveling, everything. But relating to my jobs, I'm a teacher and an author.
Yes, Jorge, and that's exactly how we have been collaborating in the past. Is you are an incredible writer, sharing those very fascinating stories, and I've done some illustrations with you. But tell us a little bit about how you're experiencing this COVID time, and how is it going to be impacting artists like yourself and writers, but also you being a teacher.
Well, first of all, I hope that our work together comes up to a point at some time. I will work hard for that. We will need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And on one side, I think we have read more than ever during these days, this year. I don't have the stats for this year, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of books have been sold, and that's a very good news for me. And for what I know, I've been talking to my friends, to everything I know, and they have read a lot because books have been like an anchor, to reality and to escape of reality sometimes. I have read a lot during quarantine, during the lockdown, and when I go to the bookshops and I talk to them, they told me that people go and buy a lot of books because they need it. They need to read to escape from this nightmare. You know what I mean? And then according to the school, it's been a bit different. It's been very tough, especially during the lockdown from March to September, because we had to do so many things in a so very different way. We had to teach in a different way. We had to be there for the children, and we also had to be there for the families, because families were absolutely overwhelmed, and I can understand. And so our way to work had to change all of a sudden. And then from this year, I mean, this goes from September to December, it's been different, but not that much. I think schools, at least here in Spain, are well prepared for teaching in this situation, and we haven't changed much because the schools have been open. They haven't closed, and once we are there, we feel, or at least I feel, very very safe, very secure, because we have took a lot of actions to make schools safe places. Okay, so
That's so important, right? Because schools used to be for all of us a place where you can learn, you're vulnerable, but you're surrounded by people that care about you, where you get food, where you have stability. So it's really important that it's in very uncertain times that in Spain, at least, we still managed to bring that back.
And we need to have in mind that children have been locked down in the houses for so much time, and they need to be with children. For me, that's the most important thing of a school. I mean, having children together, talking, playing, growing up, that's very important, and they haven't had that for a lot of months. So from the first moment they went back to the schools, they were so happy. They were expecting to be there once again with the teachers, with their friends, knowing new friends, and it's very important for me to have them together. So schools now, at least in Spain, I think they're the best place to be now.
Yeah. So the interaction, right? Because as much as we want to have things virtual, and have it in different ways of communicating. Like you're in a city, I'm in a different city, we're doing a video call. There is still the need of having this really skin to skin interaction and learning in a more analogical way versus always with a screen.
In a social way, yeah.
How is it for you though because when you're teaching through the video, you have to have so many different skills. How did you feel about it? Was it something natural that you felt comfortable doing?
Well, I felt comfortable because when I was in London, one thing that I did was I coordinated a program where we taught English through video conference to schools in Uruguay, and more or less I had the skills because I was working for a year more or less doing that, and I prepared all the project, and more or less I knew how to do it. It's different because I don't have the tools that I had in London because everything was perfect for that way of teaching. But I felt comfortable teaching through video, if that makes sense.
Okay. And on the side of consuming books that you said before, it's so true. People that enjoy reading, this quarantine, they've been reading a lot. And so how do you feel about the different formats? Because I feel there's a lot of potential for the future in having something that started as a book format to be an audiobook, or to be on a screen, or to be printed, or maybe to be a movie. What's your takeaway on the creativity potential of books in the future?
Well, if I need to say how I read, I only read books. I mean,
paper.
Books. I don't like screens for reading because I think we spend a lot of time in front of a screen during the day. If I also have a screen to read, I will get really, really sad. I mean, books for me are magic. When I love going to bookshops, I love taking one, reading what it is about, taking another one, talking to the booksellers. I love it. And then I like having books in my house, and I like having the book, even if maybe it's very thick and it's not very comfy to read. I like it. I like being at the bed and reading a book and changing my positions because I have to find the position to read. I like it. I like reading in books. I like reading books. I don't like screens. And then audiobooks, videos, they're coming up now, and it seems that they have some possibilities, but I think, or I would like to think, that books will always stay.
Yeah.
It's nothing can replace a book.
Absolutely. And I think the difference between a book and a movie is that in the book you're reading something and you are creating your movie in your head. Yeah. So the details are different for each individual, which is what makes it so magical. And which is also why when books get done into movies, the fans are always upset because how they had envisioned it is not maybe how the director has envisioned it. But it's certainly a potential. How are you feeling about the future in Spain having this? Let's be very honest, this is going to be an incredible financial crisis. Society's changing, everything's changing. How do you think it will impact your career from an artist point of view, but also as a teacher?
Well, I've seen that, and I can understand somehow, even if I don't like it. I've seen that publishing houses now have one very clear rule, which is publishing famous people, publishing influencers, publishing YouTubers, publishing actors, singers, because they know they will get the money back.
Yeah.
Some years ago, not many years ago, normally what publishing houses had was a lot of authors and then some famous people to get some money. And now is the other way. Now they have a lot of famous people to get the money and then some authors not to lose their
the roots, the concept, the line.
But for what I see, anyone can be an author now. Anyone can be an author if that person has a lot of followers on Instagram or a very powerful YouTube channel, or if that person is a singer or an actor. You know what I mean? Like now they need to make sure that they making money with books.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they think they have, which is not true. And I know it's difficult to have someone new and try to make that person important, but that's the point of a publishing house, in my opinion. I mean, if they don't work trying to make new artists, new authors come up, they will get, or we will get lost. We're not going to be important because they have books other ways. You know what I mean? Like even if those people don't write the book, they can write the books for them, and then they say it's written by this person, and because that person is famous, they sell a lot of books.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it. So do you think there's going to be more and more smaller editorials that are going to be maybe brought together by writers? So I can imagine that maybe you as a writer can connect with 5-6 other people that have similar interests and create your own amateur publishing system so that you can actually publish your book and try to get it out there. Would that be a way for you to find a solution to this situation that seems to be complicated? And I agree with you, it's what you see now when you go to a library and online and Amazon and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a possibility. I have thought about it sometimes. Now I'm working with an agent, and he's moving all my stuff around. It's very, very, very slow because publishing houses don't have the time to look for new things. That's what I was talking about before. Yeah. They like everything done. Like, I need that person, it's famous, we go for it. They don't have the time to read a book written by a new author and trying to work with him or her to make everything better. They don't have the time. So I thought that if in a couple of years it doesn't work, like my collaboration with my agent doesn't work, I will try to do it in another way, because I don't want to stop writing. I've written a lot. I have a lot of things already finished, and I really want to be an author. Like, I'm an author now, but I want to make a career, you know. And if it doesn't work because publishing houses are not up for new authors, I will try to make it by my own, or maybe, like you said, getting connected to different people with my same interest or my same situation, and try to do something together.
Yeah, I guess that, you know, from an editorial point of view, for you need an agent, almost like an actor, and as an artist you need to have the curators on your side, and it's the same. You will practically not get any exhibition if you're not in touch with the right curators that know the right galleries. So everything has become quite of a lot of layers in the process, and a lot about who you know, obviously. So it's a very, very tough and competitive environment. I want to talk about a little story that we did together, and then you can give us more insight of your future projects. But you wrote a book about your mother, and I did some illustrations about it. And because of my personal situation currently this year that I've lost my mother, I revisited again, and I was, of course, crying because it's very emotional, but I was thinking about how beautifully you write, how you make things so emotional, it's so pure, and how a short story, because it's very, very short, can be so profound and so beautiful. So I want to thank you for having included me on that project. Actually, at that time I didn't know that I would be in a similar situation, but it's such a beautiful story, and I'm really grateful that I could be part of that project, and I hope we get someone to edit it and print it, hopefully.
We will. But the thing is that when I wrote that story, my mom was alive. I didn't write it when I lost my mom 5 years and a half ago. I wrote it because I wanted to give my mom a present. At that point, I was living in London, as you know, and I was missing my mom so much, and she was missing me so much, that I had an idea, and I wrote that story as a present for my mom, and actually it was my last present, the last present I gave to my mom, because her birthday was in February the 14th, in St. Valentine's Day, because she was so loved, and I sent it to some friends. They printed it, they made it like very beautiful, with a bow, with beautiful paper, and they went to my house and they gave it to my mom, and she loved it. and it's a bit weird and at the same time a bit magical that I thought of that story. I sent it to my mom, and it was the last present I gave her. And I think it was somehow it was a way to say goodbye to my mom. She was okay. She wasn't ill. She died all of a sudden, but somehow I feel like that was the best way to say goodbye to my mom, because even if it talks about losing someone or losing a mother, it's not a sad story, and you know it. I think it's like a story of hope, a story of love, a story of connection between a child and his or her mother. You made so beautiful illustrations. I loved it, as everything that you do, as you know, and I'm somehow happy because I think with that book, with that story, I could say goodbye to my mom, and if she had the time to think before she died about me, she would be happy knowing how much love she gave me and how I felt about it.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. I hope we can give a little bit sneak peek somehow on Instagram, or we will share a little bit with the people, because it's really powerful story. So Jorge, what do you have for the future? Any big plans beyond the fact that your agent is moving all your books? Any new books on the idea on your head that you're preparing?
Well, when I have free time, which is mainly during holidays, I used to write a lot, because then I don't have the time to write when I'm working, when I'm teaching. And even if I have the time, I don't feel like working even more and going again to the computer, writing again, and being very, very focused on a task again. When I come home after working, I just need to relax, because otherwise I will get mad. So I take my holidays to write. And the good thing is that I have written a lot of stories that are finished, are done. And my agents are moving one story, which name is Conchi and Lolly's Adventures. It's a mad story about two girls. One is fat and somehow she's a freak in the school, and her best friend is another freak, and she's dirty, and she it seems that she's not very intelligent, and then at the end she is, and then they get connected to the post girl in the school, and they get friends, and they solve a mystery. And I want to make a series of book about that, and that's what they are moving around now. And then, because another way to get published, or I guess at least to get some connections to the publishing houses, is the prizes, the contest that they call. And I have some stuff in that prizes, especially poetry. This year because I didn't want to, or I didn't have the strength to get a thick book and read it day by day. I started reading even more poetry. Poetry has saved my year this year. And because I've read a lot of poetry this year, I've written a lot of poetry this year, because one thing takes to the other one. And I've written like 3 or 4 books for children, poetry for children. And I have them moving around as well by myself. And I don't know, if sometime, I still hope that someday I will get a call saying you're going to get published, or you have won this prize, and we're going to start working together. But it's all about children and young adults. Some fantasy, some mystery, some poetry, some tales, and that's what I do.
Jorge, to finish up, I want to say that this COVID times, we've all understood the importance of teachers, same as the importance of people that are in the medical world, and nurses, and everyone that takes care of society. And I think that it's really very magical that you're here, that you're a writer. Of course, it's great to have badass stories, as I always say, with great inspiration and fantastic ideas. But ultimately, what you're doing every day, being a teacher, my mom used to be a teacher too, is such a magical thing. And it's so good that you're taking all the energy that you get from the kids, putting it into stories, trying to help them to be better people, because they're certainly the future of our society. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing that I want to say is that being a teacher and being an author at the same time allows me to try to get children into books, because it's not the same thing that saying I'm a teacher and you can read because it's a good thing. That's saying I know what I'm talking about. I'm an author. I've written 3-4 books and I read a lot. It's very important that a teacher reads.
Yeah.
Maybe some people don't understand that, but for me in primary, the most important thing, apart from the social environment and playing together and being together, is reading. And if we have children that read, we will get better people in the future, I'm sure. So in my position, or my position is a more powerful position, if that makes sense, to make them love books and literature.
And if I would have had in primary school such a cool teacher like you telling me that reading was the coolest thing and to be a writer, I think I would have become a writer rather than a painter or an artist. So 100%, I think that you're a great role model, bringing literature into kids and bringing poetry and making things relevant for children. And as I said, you're such a cool guy. So I'm sure they look at you up like, I want to be like Jorge when I'm older.
Well, you need to be a painter and illustrator because I need you for my books.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
So much for your time, Jorge.
Thank you.
Very soon.
It's been very nice. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.